Hello and welcome to a new series where at Nevo we're partnering with LeasePlan, and I'm joined here today by Aaron, who is the EV expert at LeasePlan. That's not your official title?
One of them. We'll go with that one.
And today we're specifically talking about what is leasing, what is LeasePlan, but also the personal car space in a commercial capacity, but also in a personal capacity. There's different options there. We will have another video coming to the social channels on the commercial vehicle side of things with a Vivaro E, and it's the one with the bigger battery, so really looking forward to that. But we said we'd sit down, and because a lot of people hear about leasing, what is it, how do they get into it, how do I inquire about it, so we said we'd sit down in a beautiful Polestar 2.
Which is very nice.
And we are going to be chatting about those kind of questions that people get asked, that we get asked at Nevo, and I'm sure that Aaron and the team at LeasePlan get asked on a regular basis.
I suppose leasing, what is it? It's probably the most common question we get initially. So leasing, on the face of it, it's a finance product. So you go into a garage, you can generally buy a car outright with cash, you can get one on PCP, or you can lease. Most people tend to avoid lease because they think it's maybe more business orientated.
Okay.
But essentially you're borrowing an amount of money and you're paying that back. So that's the finance element of it. But where it probably differs from PCP is the amount that you borrow. So a leasing company generally would take more risk on a residual value of a vehicle,
okay,
maybe 3 or 4 years time. So if you're looking at a €50,000 vehicle, we might say that value is going to be worth 30,000 in 3 years time. So you're basically financing €20,000 there.
Over 3 years?
Over 3 years. So you're basically a payment spread out over 3 years plus interest, and that's essentially leasing. Where it can get different then as well is you can add services in or take services out.
So if I wanted a 1 monthly fee of leasing and my service and fuel?
Yeah, you can include everything. So maintenance, tyres, replacement car, roadside assist, insurance.
Okay.
Fuel, we would include not as part of your monthly cost, but the facility for fuel.
Right.
So a fuel card essentially, or an EV equivalent to a fuel card.
Yes.
We have that facility as well. So basically you can have 1 monthly payment and all your motoring costs are covered. Or you can tailor it back and just do the finance element. Very
good. We're sitting in the Polestar 2 because you have stock of this at the moment, and you're hearing these stories out there where you can't get these EVs, you can't get that EV, but LeasePlan Ireland have stock of Polestar 2s at the moment.
Yeah, so we do personal and we do business leasing, so
right, the
option is open to either. Yeah.
Okay. The Polestar 2, good size range.
Yeah.
So range of mid 400s?
Correct, 450.
He's testing me out here. And fit and finish, it's a premium car.
It is, yeah. I mean, through and through, it's a Volvo essentially, and you can see that looking at the car, inside and outside. Good materials, very solid build, very quiet to drive and very nice to drive as well. And the specs that you have at LeasePlan are of a good, what levels have you got, or is it just the same level? Yeah, at the moment we have the entry level vehicle, and the main reason for that is it fits on car policies. Right. If you were trying to add a vehicle, you know, that was very high up in the money range or very high spec, chances are it's not going to fit on a car policy. Obviously EVs do have a slightly higher list price than an equivalent vehicle, so you know, getting people to get them on their policy, and then something that's, you know, maybe a direct comparison to say a BMW 3 Series or something like that. Actually, as it happens, the Polestar 2 that we have and the current BMW 3 Series are actually very similar in price. So if you were thinking about leasing, be that passenger or personal lease or commercial lease, the option would be a BMW 3 Series. Did you say M3 or 3 Series? 3 Series. 3 Series. And Polestar 2, nearly similar, very similar in price. Yeah, very similar in price. Okay. But I suppose where the big difference would be from a car policy point of view and to a company driver is the BIK element. Right. So BIK, obviously it's a hot topic at the moment since the budget, and people have realised my car that I'm driving now is probably going to cost me more next year as a company vehicle. So if you take that BMW 3 Series as an example, all BIK from January is based on emissions. Now while it's not a particularly high emitting vehicle, you're going to be looking at BIK somewhere in the region of probably €650 to €680 a month. Now obviously it varies person to person, situation to situation, but as an average, and if you take something like the Polestar here, you're going to be looking at €160 a month. So if you are thinking about a company car and changing, and the length of term for a LeasePlan lease on average is? The average lease is about somewhere between 3 and 4 years. Okay. So you're coming up to the end of your lease and you're going, will I go BMW 3 Series as an example, or Polestar 2? As much as the cost of that lease is the same for you or for the company,
the BIK is the big thing.
Yeah, so certainly for the driver, the BIK is a very big save.
So Aaron, LeasePlan are starting to lead the field with regards to EV adoption, and you're getting consumers asking about it, customers asking about it, but also you're driving that change as well.
Yeah, so obviously EV is the big thing at the moment. All companies are looking at it as a way of reducing CO2 emissions and saving cost. But we've done probably a lot of work in the space, particularly over the last 2 years, to help companies do that. So looking at ourselves, probably 2019 we had a very small proportion of electric vehicles on our fleet, probably 2% of our fleet.
Okay.
But over the last couple of years, up until today, we now have about 12% of our overall fleet. And how we've done that is, number one, we kind of led from the front with our own staff fleet. We've started transitioning that to electric vehicle a number of months ago, or years ago even at this point. So we have a very large percentage of our own staff fleet done.
And I think by the staff driving electric vehicles, they start to understand the use cases, the charging. So when people are ringing up, inquiring about leasing a vehicle personally or through their business, the people that are talking to them on the phone, you're starting to become that consultants and those EV experts.
Yeah, we've been there ourselves in the situation and done it. We've all had the same concerns probably at the start. Probably around charging being the big one, where and how will I charge? We obviously had that concern ourselves, and we have a solution to that, where we have a one card does all solution, where you can start and stop home charging using essentially a fuel card, same at work and same on public network.
Perfect.
And the ability then is that we can report that back, we can reimburse the driver for home charging if that's to be done, and then outside of that the driver doesn't have to do anything around a transaction bar swipe the fob like they just would with a traditional fuel card.
So they're not messing with ESB bills or electricity bills and trying to figure out what was the kilowatts that I used to charge the card. Because they've fobbed on and fobbed off at their home charger, the solution is all part of that workplace, home, public charging network as well.
Exactly,
so it's one card for all, as you say.
Yeah, complete end-to-end system.
Excellent. A lot of companies are asking about, they don't want the headache of electric cars because they think there's a lot of challenges towards it.
Yeah, and that's probably a big one, is the charging piece. Obviously drivers have their own concerns or things that they want clarified at the start as well. So we make a point of doing that, and we're always very open and honest. Like, if we have a particular driver who we don't think an EV suits, we will tell them that.
Okay.
There's no point in us saying get everybody into an EV and then you have a driver who it's not suitable for. That's nobody's a winner there.
Yes.
So as I say, we're upfront and honest. If it works, we'll tell you it works. If it's not going to, we'll also tell you that. But they would be few and far between cases where it wouldn't work.
Okay, interesting. And that advisory, when you're chatting to businesses or people that are looking to make that transition to electric vehicles, it's sitting down, it's understanding what their current needs are, what their future needs are, but then seeing if an EV will match up, be that a car, be that a van.
So we do have some used electrics back now as well, so we can release those out as well, and again that would help reduce cost.
And so what's happened is somebody's had it on lease and then it's gone back to yourselves.
Correct, yeah, it might have been out on a fairly short lease, 2 or 3 years initially. There's still lease life left in the vehicle.
Very good.
They tend to be low mileage, so we're happy to put that vehicle out again to somebody else at a reduced rate.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you very much.